John, this is Snowden.
Oh, we are. If we lose anybody, just look for the white flag coming.
Yeah, but we gather sort of 400 people alongside when we are related as well.
Did you know where you were going, or did you follow the instructions?
Because I spent a long time down there. Luke's parents have got a caravan. Luke's parents have got a caravan.
Okay, here we are at the Langdon table. At the head of the table we have the researchers. Very little known, but probably the most experienced Christadelphians in Hereford. Alongside them we have a Mr. David Whitelock, who happens to be the uncle of Laura on her mother's side. And then next to her is it's Susan Waddock. Well, the wife of the photographer. Okay. Not the still photographer, but the video photographer, of course. We need to get on cleared up. And then over here? Over here, we have a very talkative young lady. Well, not quite so young anymore, but there you go. And my uncle, Peter. His name's Conway, but he's not from Wales, strangely enough. And behind the lens of the camera we have a Mr. Edward Waddock.
Oh, there it is, on record now. And there's the man behind the voice.
Behind the camera.
Do you recognise this man from the United States?
That's right. He's the photographer and star and also director of Ed the Movie.
Of course, yes. Every good home could have one.
Yeah.
our photographer. The official face of the official photographer.
Isn't it, before you get off on your honeymoon and enjoy yourself. We don't very often have a Sunday paper at home, but a couple of weeks ago I made the mistake of buying one. And in there was an article on weddings, and somebody pointed out to me a little quote in there, and it said, "The duller the bride's father, the longer the speech." So, just a few words to that, Laura, and Luke, and a few thank yous as well at the end. Now, some months ago I was in the loft, and if your loft is anything like ours, it's absolutely chocker with things. Lego, action men, cars, you name it, it's all there. And there I was looking around for what I wanted, and I never actually found it, well at least not in the loft anyway, I found it somewhere else. But during the course, so here you go, so this is the one that will make all the ladies know. Here we are, look at these. I don't have a park, and she was stood up after lunch, and suddenly some pigeons ran across the lawn, and she got up and moved and went straight after them, didn't you? It takes you back. And it makes you stop and reflect, just like Ian was saying this morning. There are three important times really in life, aren't there? There's our baptism, there's our marriage, and there's the birth of a child. And they're all great blessings from God, and it's wonderful to be able to rejoice in those blessings together today, isn't it? I found something else as well. I mean, it was Father's Day the other week, wasn't it? If anybody's into that sort of thing. And I found a homemade card. Oh, there we are. I made this one. Yeah. And it says in it, apologies to the West Walians at the end, it says, Abu Dhabi is the best holiday place ever. There we go. There's not the speech there. And I think it must be about this time that Laura started learning German, because T, H-E-R-S. But you did very well, Laura, anyway. It says, Happy Father's Day, love and kisses from Laura, and it was so lovely that I've kept it, so if you want to come along and look at that afterwards, you're more than welcome to. Well, I was looking for one of those books called My Newman Story, because they're normally quite entertaining, aren't they? You know, I couldn't find one of those. We found one of Matthew's the other day, but I found this. I have to say, Laura gets her creative flair from me. This is me. Hi, Laura. You haven't changed a bit. And where is he? Where's Reuben? This is my cousin. So, anybody wants to have a look at that afterwards again, they're more than welcome to. Now, it has to be said that Laura has never been the sportiest girl. Yeah? Takes after me in many ways. In fact, as responsible parents, we thought we should teach Laura to swim from an early age. But Laura took to water more like a brick than a duck. That's fair to say. And that's absurd, isn't it? We've got here, this is to certify that Laura Brown has achieved 5 metres. We've got a bag as well. And in fact, we've got 10 metres, and I think we've even got 25, so...
I've got at least 200.
200. moving swiftly on, it's not long before the time comes for university. And I've been well prepared for this by the sixth form, prepared for sixth form college, yeah, David, yeah, plug in there, and well prepared us. They said the day will finally come, and so it did, when the young person is off to university. Looking forward to it with some trepidation. And there's the mum with all the Kleenex. That's actually might belong to you, apparently. Occasionally we went down to Swansea, and Laura shared a house with Hannah first of all, and then with Sarah and Andrew, I'm not sure where Andrew is, she is, just over there, and Abby, who unfortunately can't be with us today. And I asked on one occasion if I could borrow a street map of Swansea so we could find out where we were going. And I looked at this thing, and it's a bit like Winnie the Pooh. You know, in the front of Winnie the Pooh, it's got a little map in it. I haven't read it for a while, but you know, it says Eel's house and Piglet's house and Al goes away, you know, and Al goes away, you know, and then suddenly Luke's breathing seems to get a bit heavier and heavier. There's this heavy breathing going on. And then this great big wet tongue sort of comes across the face like this. You can imagine Laura saying, Luke, I'm trying to sleep. And then she opened her eyes. It wasn't Luke. It was the heavy breathing and the wet tongues were all the local cows who'd come down to the river. But worse than that, every week, Luke used to bring Laura a great big bar of Cadbury's chocolate. And there was this chocolate absolutely trodden into the ground. And there was Luke's animal bag, which I think the cows must have something against the brand, but there was his poor animal bag with a great hot steaming message left on it. So they picked up their things and they fled. But the cows are very pleased that you go to Wiltshire. And they sent you a little present. 2 bars of Happy Cow milk chocolate. There we are. There we are. Well, that's the embarrassing moment from me. But to say a few words of thanks. Firstly to Joe and John and to Aaron for all the love and the care, and patience and tolerance they showed to Laura in the last 3 years. Not to mention all the lifts from the station and to university and the chocolate ice cream and everything else, but you know, it's much appreciated. And secondly, to say thank you to Laura's wonderful housemates that have supported her over the last 3 years. Hannah and Andrea, and by the way, Andrea makes an absolutely superb carrot cake. So getting with Andrea, Sarah, and Abby Holman, who sadly isn't quite well enough to be with us today. But I know you've been a great help to Laura in the ups and downs of life, being the best man. And I think she's at the back, but Sue here. Ed?
Yeah.
Sue here. We'll thank the caterers later, but I'm sure you'll agree. Sue and her team have done a lovely job here. I also want to thank Eileen, my sister-in-law, and sometime counsellor, because some months ago she prepared me for this event by giving me a copy of the film The Father and the Bride. And I had to watch it a couple of nights ago, you know, just to prepare me. And I thank you very much, Eileen, because as they say in America, it saved me a lot of serious therapy. But it's an excellent film. And on a personal note,
afternoon, everybody. As most of you are probably more than aware, I am a man of quite a few words. I'll keep this brief, so don't worry, you won't get too full bumps in the 6 years too long. Some people have actually asked me, how did me and Laura actually get together? Well, for this one, all credit goes to Sarah Whale over there. It's all her fault that we're all here today. One Saturday afternoon, she brought Laura down to play a game to me. We were sitting on the beach having a chat. She's like, oh, what's wrong with Laura? When you last got her? She's not my type, not at all. And she's like, no, really, she's a really nice girl, you know. Well, instantaneous or absolutely no way. I appreciate everything that you've done for us. But most of all, our thanks go to Chris and Tina for organising such a wonderful day. I really appreciate all the help that you've given us. And, yeah, thank you very much. The second time today I got off a nice one. That's another story. Yeah, I'd just like to say initially thanks to Ian as well for not marrying me to Laura. It was the shoes. And for those who haven't realised, I am actually Lily's twin. It's Laura's bride, I know where you are, I guess, you know. Classic moment this morning, she was like, do you remember me? And I was like, I do. It's time we were playing Scrabble. And I was like, I think you got the wrong one. Yes, I mean, I don't say a lot, Luke, unfortunately I haven't got any of his previous artwork to show. But and also any of the funny stories all featured me quite a lot, so yeah, I'd just like to say to Luke, though, I mean, you're going to be leaving here today. I mean, you've been a beautiful wife, you're going to be warm, loving, and caring. I mean, Laura is funny, and Laura's just going to be leaving here today, and she's got a nice dress. There's no Luke as well. Yes, I remember asking a guy about, you know, how can it work in the media, or what you should say about marriage. And he said, oh, the best man. He said, you should give advice on marriage, or not being married. And so a bit stuck. And he said, well, a few pointers. He said, oh, well, I've been happily married now for 20 years. And he said, oh, yes, the other 40 weren't quite so bad. He said, there's the main things you need to remember. He said, there's the 4 rings. He said, you got the engagement ring, you got the wedding ring, you got the suffering, and the enduring. If you can get through those, you're doing well. And I'd also like to make a few more points, which I personally have noticed. It was Laura will have unconditional rightness, Luke. This is not the same as correctness. Any argument, she's right, okay? Also, chocolate and flowers. The bigger the mistake, the bigger the bunch. Okay? Yes, and also Laura, a husband is like a tiled floor. Lay it right the first time, and you can spend years walking over it. Yes. And also, a simple little phrase for happy marriage. He said, it's not I love you, but yes, dear. That's the ultimate.
I thought you didn't know which card is that.
Also, there was some advice now. When you go home, there's this funny room, it's called the kitchen. When you actually find the kitchen, there's like mysterious objects in there, like the cooker and the big wet thing, it's called the sink. You know, every once in a while, you might actually want to do the dishes and delete the speed dials for the takeaway of it. So, yeah. And I also just like to say, now he's married, he's going to learn about all these decent qualities such as loyalty, self-respect, married for a long time. So look at Laura.
Look at Laura.
As it's dry, I think it would be sensible if we all went outside somewhere improving the hotels for the group photo. Yes, so if we all go outside for the big group photo, that would be great. Maybe coffee serving there afterwards with cake.
Well, have you seen that BMW around the corner? It looks even worse.
Have a lovely time.
When John got married, he was signed to get the local teeth and John's got. But one, there were three. So there was two that met the third one, and the part of the car went right behind them to see them. It's rotting in the car. And I've never got it.
Okay. Thanks. Right.
So when you sell them, I did for a fisherman. Fisherman, ideal for marine-based.
I've got to take David Scott or something. We can
Can't get near the photographers, can you?
As you're walking towards the end, and you know what kind of and the next year I was going to have a go. So the guy was saying yes, all right. I said
The wrong box case will do the vaccine. You're right.
You can't get away with it,
I didn't try it. But I like it. They had cheese.
She's not hungry. She can get some more.